Welcome back everyone. So in this video we will be talking about equation or example numbering in Microsoft Word. So in this video the techniques that we are going to illustrate will be depending on the chapter numbering techniques that we illustrated in the previous video. So if you have not watched this video, then you can probably go to the link that I will put in the description and watch the video on chapter numbering first. So now we will proceed to this equation or example numbering. So in Microsoft Word, this is where we have stopped in from the previous video, right? So we have created the chapter numbering. Basically, you can have like a new chapter. Say this is new chapter, right? So this is new chapter. Okay, and then you change it to heading 1, you get the chapter numbering and so on. So these are fields. So we will talk about fields in the video in the futures. Okay, so now coming back to this one. So sometimes you may want to have example labeling, for example, like example 1.2.1, right? So which is the first example in this subtopic or subsection. And then you may have like this is an example, and then you may want to say, okay, now I want to have equation 1.2.1, something like that, right? So you may want to label equations, things like that. So how do we do this or get this numbering following what you have here, right? So example 1.2 here refers to this 1.2 section. And then the 0.1 here is basically the first example in this subsection, right? So maybe you have the second example, then you will have example 1.2.2, and you don't want to type this thing manually because sometimes you want to do reordering and cancel or delete one of the example and so on. So how do we get this thing done automatically? By using field. One of the easiest way is you can basically use like under the references, right? So you can actually insert caption. Right, so you can see when you click at insert caption, you will be able to choose like equation, figures, or tables, right? So you can choose equation. So let's try one of them first. So let's delete the equation. Okay, so insert caption, and then you can say, okay, I would like to use equation now, and then I click OK. So you can see equation 1.1 is here. Then if I insert one equation here, right? So let's try equation. So you get 2.1. So basically the numbering of the equation here is by chapter numbering. That means it is chapter 1, the first equation. So if I insert one more equation, you can see that this will become equation 1.2 because it's the second equation in chapter 1. So this is the first equation in chapter 2. So over here, let me undo a little bit. What we want to do is that how do we modify these things so that we get, instead of just number, but we get chapter, we get the subtopic as well, right? So or subsection. So how do we do this thing? So basically you just need to modify or amend this thing a little bit, right? So you can look at the numbering here, click at the insert caption numbering. So you can see the chapter starts with style heading 1. You can change it to heading 2. Changing this one to heading 2, click OK, and then click OK. So you get equation 1.2.1, right? So second equation here, we expect it to be 1.2.2, right? So let's insert one equation here and see what will happen, right? So enter, and then one equation 3. Okay, so you get 2.2.1. Okay, right? So reason for this thing, you observe that this is not 3. Why? Because you don't have the second level here, right? So or second heading heading 2 here. So like for example, replace font. This would be also one of the topic that we will talk about in the future. Replace font in my PowerPoint, right? PowerPoint. So you probably want to change this thing to heading 2. Okay. Then you observe that the equation is still 2.2, but it is not 3.1, right? So you can right click here and then update field. Okay, so of course I press Control Z to undo. You can also use Control A and then press F9 and then you update entire table. This is because of the table of contents, so you update everything together. So you Control A to select all, press F9 to update all the fields. Okay, so you can get this thing done automatically. So this is how you get equation numbering at the heading 2 level. Okay, so if you want to create a new one, example like 1.2.1 and so on, so let me delete this one and then we see how we do this thing. Same thing, under references, insert caption, and then you just want to create a new label, right? So this new label you call it as example, and then click OK, and then of course numbering here, click at this one. You may want to choose take this include chapter numbers, change it to heading 2, and then separator you can use period dot. Okay, and then click OK. Right, so you get example 1.2.1, and then this one you can delete it, and then let's try second example. Right, so insert caption again, and then just click OK. You get example 1.2.2. So this is second example. Right, so sometimes you can see if you reorder them, then you will realize that it is not necessary to change the numbering. Okay, so right, so now I reorder them. Of course, Control A to select all. If let's say a lot of things to update, press F9, and then because of table of contents, you just need to click this one. You can see that the examples numbering is okay now, so it's automatically corrected. So don't type manually for these kind of things. Do it using fields. It will save you a lot of times, especially if you are typing out a thesis or a long documents or lectures, notes, or anything. Okay, so that would be what we are going to cover in this video. So on chapter numbering in the previous video, and then equation or example numbering in this video. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.